The air out there. Oh.
Alexis, would you mind keeping the red beans in the can? I'll pay the regular price, of course.
Oh, my Lord. Why don't you want me to take them out of the can?
They're for an offering, you see.
Oh, why didn't you say so? The Lord hungers.
Exactly. As you can see, I'm a pitiful lost lamb. Now I get it, Zach. This is nothing but a shameless fetch quest.
The air. Come, you.
Zach, we finally managed to assemble the Taboo Trinity. And it was certain. I just hope it rewards us with some data that will help us push this investigation forward. Okay, Pastor, I've brought you your Taboo Trinity. I'd like to exchange it for a ticket to the goddess.
Oh, how, you see, one and one pressed white guara. This is what you must bring them.
Are you kidding me?
How pitiful. Our Lord never speaks in.
I told you this was gonna be a pain in the butt. Come on, we need to get going.
It looks like we'll need to work harder to get God's attention, Zach. Part of me just wants to say to hell with it and go have a smoke.
One anaconda skin, one squirrel tail, and one pressed white guara. For it is an offering to the Lord.
The thing is, I only came here to speak with you, not the Lord.
one anaconda skin, one snake. Oh.
I pity us too, Zach. You know, Patty, I just remembered something. When we met Philip in the sheriff's office, he mentioned your mother. What sort of history does Melvin have with the Clarksons?
What do you mean? The Clarksons know everyone in town, and everyone in town knows the Clarksons. This is Le Carre. That's all there is to it.
Zach, something isn't right here. I just hope the Clarksons don't have anything to do with her mother's illness. That's all I'm concerned about. Either way, the truth will reveal itself to us eventually, just like it always has. Hey, Zach. 1997, the movie where the famous Jennifer Lopez, even Owen Wilson and Ice, is that the scene in the beginning where Danny Trejo climbs up a ladder? It stole my heart. Okay, back to the real world. About 3 years ago, he said they were a trophy from a snake he hunted and skinned all by himself. Could you kill something and then wear? I fail to see any difference between that. There's our squirrel tail. I hope we can gather the rest of the materials this quickly. Honestly, we don't have the time to help God out with his heavenly errands. Certain countries consider squirrel tails to be wards against demonic powers. Apparently, the tails quiver whenever evil draws near. So when people go out on journeys, they always carry squirrel tails with them. The fresher the tail, the higher its price. This is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? This is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. don't you, Zach? So, what do you think of him? Yes, I'm talking about him. Unga. Is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of myth? Still too early to tell. But it's clear that he'll be the key to uncovering this case's mysteries. That's what my soul tells me. By the way, Zach, Ungan feels very familiar to me. You might even say he Ripping a squirrel's tail off its corpse is an eye-opening experience, Zach. I don't care if God commanded us to do this, it's pure butchery. But we'll just have to live with it. After all, humans are wild at heart. Zach, I never knew that following oracles was such back-breaking work. I really needed this cigarette. I think I'm on the verge of losing my mind. Now we just need to find one pressed white Gora. He was very clear that it had to be pressed. Do they sell pressed flowers in stores here? I think I'm stumped, Zach. Perhaps we better go ask our well-informed concierge for help. What else have you seen on that sci-fi movie channel?
Agent York, why are you asking me that?
Discussing movies is one of the most basic forms of communication in our country.
What time period do you live in?
It's always been that way in every era. In this country, all dialogues always begin from films.
Ugh, says who? You're making me sick.
Sick?
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna puke.
I know just what you need to do, Patty.
What?
Tell me what other movies you've seen on that sci-fi channel.
Ugh, you're so annoying. Fine. I saw this one movie where a pretty lady and an old guy fight, and they were both robots.
Ah, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. 2003, directed by Jonathan Mostow. I knew you were an Arnold S. fan.
Oh, you said it again. Oh, whatever. I'm not a fan of his or anything, okay? He just happened to be in it.
So, what did you think?
I knew of the name Terminator, but it was my first time seeing one of those movies.
What? You've never seen Terminator?
Well, the first two came out before I was even born.
I know, but come on. It's Terminator.
Boys probably like it, but I'm sure most girls don't give two craps about it. Oh, but I know it was directed by the same person who did Titanic.
Titanic? Oh, you mean Raise the Titanic. 1980, directed by Jerry Jameson. But he didn't direct Terminator. He's famous for Airport 77 and The Deadly Tower. You probably know this already, but The Deadly Tower was based on the 1966 Texas Tower sniper incident. I learned about it at the FBI Academy in Quantico. In the film, Kurt Russell plays Charles Joseph Whitman, the assailant. He really brought the character to life with an awe-inspiring performance. What's wrong, Patty? I'm just trying to talk about Terminator 3, that movie you saw, but you're not paying any attention. So be it. If you're not in the mood to talk, then let's return to the investigation. It's a shame, though. We really wanted to hear more about the films you saw, didn't we, Zach?
Agent York. Okay, let me take a look at your board. You mind if I tell folks about how I got to customize a board for an FBI guy?
Of course not. You're my mentor, after all.
Really? Thanks. I reckon it might help out whenever I decide to open up my own shop, you know? I bet it'll make me famous. Official choice of FBI special agents. I'm gonna name it Emma's Skateboard Workshop.
When that happens, I hope you'll expand and open up stores all throughout the U.S. Otherwise, I'll have to come down to Louisiana every time I need to fix up my darling.
You trying to butter me up with compliments?
Absolutely not, Emma. I'm serious. Your skills are top class. You figured out how I ride my board merely from the friction marks, then adjusted my trucks based on that. The wheel and bearing selection in your shop makes perfect sense to me. Your finesse with applying the deck tape was also impeccable. It's rare to find an artisan who thinks this deeply about her customers. I now understand why you call this a workshop rather than a garage. Emma, you should be more confident. Zach and I both guarantee that you possess true talent in your craft.
Agent York, you really believe I'm that talented? Wow, I'm so moved, I don't even know what to say. See you later. Oh, if you ever got any skateboard questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Hi, Agent York.
So you clearly love TV shows, but what about movies?
Movies? We don't even have a movie theater around here, so I can only watch what I manage to catch.
Zach, you're a coffee person, right? No sugar, only milk. Yes, I'm completely with you on that one. Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why? Okay, Zach. Let's go talk to our concierge. It'd be impossible for us to find a white Gora all on our own in such a vast area.
Welcome back, Mr. Morgan, sir.
Hello there, concierge. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
How may I help you, Mr. Morgan?
I'm in need of a pressed white Gora. Do you know of a store where I could find one?
The Lord hungers?
Correct.
Jolly good, sir. In that case, please ask our bellboy. His hobby is pressing flowers, so I'm sure he'll be able to assist you. That's what I'm talking. You can't get fined, so make sure.
Got a minute, Jack?
What is it, mister? I got my hands full here.
Do you know where I might find a pressed white Gora?
Now, what did I tell you? I'm a professional chef. I don't flap my gums about any old. If you want to know about the town, you best ask our concierge.
May I ask you a...
Sure, boss. What's cracking?
I need to find a pressed white Gora.
You like flowers, boss?
Well, not exactly, but it's the will of God.
The Lord hungers, huh?
Excellent, David. Way to cut right to the chase. Do you know where I might find one?
Sorry, boss. We only have one white Gora bush in our garden. Yep.
What's the problem?
Well, yesterday I picked them all and pressed them, see?
That's perfect. Would you mind giving one to me?
Sorry, boss. No can do.
What do you mean?
I used all the pressed flowers I made to decorate a very special spot, see?
What spot?
The bedroom on the first floor.
The bath.
Yes, sir. So I don't have a single pressed flower left now.
Well then, I'll just go and grab one from the bath.
I wouldn't do that if I were you, boss. Taking a pressed flower from a bathroom into church? Jesus ain't gonna like that. Sorry, but it looks like you're all out of luck, boss.
Zach. Deep South. The white Gora, also known as the whirling butterfly. They certainly look just as beautiful as one. Never thought I'd ever have to pick a flower from a bathroom and deliver it to a church. But he left us no choice. Did he, Zach? God himself commanded us to carry out this very act. Therefore, I'm simply doing as I'm told. My own will has nothing to do with it. We never get to engage in adventures like these while living in the city, do we, Zach? No, the cases of the city are honestly quite boring. Who wants to fish through the garbage for a missing corpse's genitals? Or chase a stray bullet that got lodged into a moving taxi? Talk about stupid. And usually, it's all just a formality so that we can accuse a criminal who's been obviously guilty since day one. If I have to search for something, I'd much rather search for something out here. It's just so much more dramatic. This is the countryside, and it's sensational. You know what I mean, don't you, Zach?
How's the investigation coming? Must be going well if you're on the case.
I sincerely hope this is the last.
That makes...
Heavenly. Truly heavenly.
He threw away all the Spam, the red beans, and the spinach. I don't believe this. All this time, he was only after the cans?
Shh, be quiet, Agent York. He's doing holy work. Just be quiet and watch.
What a fragrant pressed flower. Thank you for this blessing, O Lord.
Yes, Zach. As fragrant as a urinal cake.
Shh. Behold, it is finished. Our Lord is enraptured. Take this, my lambs, and let it serve you.
Just take it, Agent York. Folks say Pastor Sanders' instruments have special powers.
Special powers?
Yes, it is the truth, my lost lambs. Have faith. The Lord guides me to create the perfect instrument for each citizen of our town.
Each instrument's effects differ by person, too.
In your case, you were blessed with 3 drums and a special flower. This is the will of the Lord. You must accept it and have faith. If you ever find yourself lost again, return to me at any time.
Patty, I'm curious. Do you have an instrument too?
Huh? Me? Of course not. Why would I ever want one of those stupid things? I'm fine just watching you adults play your silly little games.
Zach, the pressed flower we took from the bathroom ended up coming straight back to us.
Hey, Agent York, what's next?
Fear not, Patty. Our next stop is that stylish woman's house. Her name is Helena Doman, and apparently she lives in this town.
What? You want to go meet her?
You know her?
Yeah. Everyone calls her Lena. Hey, how'd you figure out her name anyway? No one told you, right?
That's true. No one told me, verbally. By pure chance, Zach and I happened to acquire this. We picked it up from the ground while the pastor was busy crying. Patty, this is a prescription for a female hormone medication. Which means this person is undergoing hormone treatment. Understand? It's the oracle. This is the ticket to the goddess that we were meant to find at the White Hall. I just remembered something that Melvin said to me in the holding cell. Professor R isn't exactly a normal woman, according to him. Now it all makes sense, Patty. Lena Doman is the stylish woman we've been searching for. Professor R in the flesh.
You know, Agent York, you might actually have some talent after all.
Yes, I'll be honest with you, Patty. Both Zach and I are extremely talented. So I hope you can trust us and continue working as our assistant. Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, it would have been shut up in that vast, desolate... Zach, you're a coffee. The address on the prescription led us to this house.
Seems like she ain't home. No lights on either.
It really seemed like you knew who Galena Clarkson was.
Well, I've never actually talked to her, but it's a small town. Pretty much all folks know who the Clarksons are. And Galena's supposed to be extra scary. Back when we saw her in town, I felt like she was glaring right at me, so I got real scared. No one will come out and say it, but I'm pretty sure they're all relieved that she was the killer. We're lucky the killer ended up being a member of the Clarkson family. Otherwise, the whole town would have turned into a battlefield.
You've got a point, but did everyone really hate her that much?
They didn't hate her. She hated them. She had this real peculiar way of treating people. I don't know how to describe it.
Contempt.
Professor R's never home, you know.
Patty, why do you know so much about Professor R?
I don't know that much, really.
But you're the first person in town who mentioned her name to me. You also knew about San Rouge, didn't you? And when I tried to ask you more about it back then, you gave me an evasive answer. You're my assistant, aren't you? If you are, then you need to tell me everything you know about this case.
Daddy don't like Lena. He said it's stupid for a man to want to turn into a woman.
What?
And he told me I ain't supposed to talk about her. He said that if you knew someone like her was living here, Agent York, you'd start to hate this town.
That's ridiculous. Why would I ever hate this town? Because one of its inhabitants is transgender? Why in the world would that make a difference to me?
The other folks in town said the same thing as Daddy. They all know about Saint Rouge and Professor R, and about how she's waging war against the Clarksons. But they all say we ain't supposed to talk about it. So
And here I'd assumed that ignorant way of thinking died out with the 20th century. I guess I really am an outsider after all. I thought that everyone was cooperating with my investigation, but it turns out they were all hiding key information from me. Damn it, Zach. This just made me hate the countryside for the first time in my entire life. Oh, I'm sorry for being so loud, Patricia. But just remember this. A person's birthplace, nature, race, and physical features have no bearing on their value as a human being. We're always free, and we should respect each other just the way we are. So you shouldn't feel a need to hate Lena for no reason, no matter what the people around you say. You can't let them control you. Sometimes things like common sense and decency can end up deeply hurting other people. I sincerely hope you don't forget that.
Okay, I won't.
But if Lena's committed a crime, that's a different story altogether. She may be a social minority, but she's still free and capable of knowing the difference between right and wrong. Professor R, I sincerely hope she's smart enough to understand that.
Listen to the two ends and drink dry the firewater. Do this and you will see the other world.
Zach, did you hear that? It's another oracle. I assume this means we're getting closer to the truth. Well, this is good. We don't have any other big clues at the moment. What do you say we continue the skeletal gentleman's game? After I spent the 90s listening to nothing but punk rock, I fell out of touch with music, but the digital audio player I received last Christmas changed everything. Nowadays, people can walk around with thousands of songs in their pockets. You following me here, Zach? That's right. This oracle is connected to music. The two N's refer to neither periods nor a movie's credits. They refer to the last letter of the alphabet, Z. And what's a word that has two Z's in it? Jazz, of course. Remember, we're in Louisiana here. The firewater is even easier. It's alcohol. Let's go to that jazz bar and have a drink while we consider our next plan of action. Don't worry, this is all part of our job, isn't it, Zach?
Lucari Tiger to DC Eagle. Lucari Tiger to DC Eagle. Come in.
Oh, Daddy.
DC Eagle here. Got any news for me?
Well, Mr. York, we got ourselves a bit of a problem here.
What sort of problem?
Looks like Daniel's gathered up a group of people to help him find Galina's killer on his own. If the Clarksons get serious, they'll probably put an end to this case before we even know what hit us. And it sure won't be wrapped up the way you want it to, Mr. York.
Yes, that certainly is a problem. Judging from Daniel's temperament, things are bound to get out of control. Melvin, I need to find Professor R as soon as possible.
Professor R?
That's right.
That ain't such a good idea.
I didn't ask for your personal opinion, Melvin. Especially if it comes from an antiquated, xenophobic way of thinking that's characteristic of rural towns.
Whoa now, Mr. York. What's going on here? I didn't...
This conversation is over, Melvin. You need to figure out what the Clarksons are planning. Call me again as soon as you know.
Huh? Fine. Whatever you say.
Also, sorry, but would you mind coming to pick up Patricia? I would never think to take an innocent girl like her into an adult watering hole.
Yeah, you're right. CLG's still too young for that.
Wait, Daddy! Agent York! I'm going too! Don't leave me out of this!
No, Patricia. You signed a contract with me, remember? I promise to protect you from all the evil in our world.
That's not what it means!
Patty, you're smart. Shockingly so. But you're still a child. And there are certain things a child like you doesn't need to learn about yet. Just go home for today. Zach and I are both in agreement on this one. I'm so glad you understand, Patty. Okay, Melvin, that's that. I'm leaving her here. The rest is in your hands.
Roger that. I'll take care of her, Mr. York.
Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the Sang Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, it would have been shut up in that vast...
Hi, Agent York. Hi. Okay. Looking good. Oh, remember, in order to get better, you need to become one with the board. See you later. Oh, if you ever got any skateboard questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Zach, it appears to be closed. Let's come back during business hours. A symbol. It's got to be that bridge hanging over the bayou. Lift bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me of Duluth, Minnesota. Remember what happened there? That man went to such great lengths to collect his victims' tongues. You know, the one who would French kiss them every day as they slowly decompose. As I drove him to the station after his arrest, he started lecturing me on the proper way to give someone a kiss. Anyway, back to Duluth. They have a famous lift bridge there called the Aerial Lift Bridge. The lift bridge here is the first one we've seen since then, but this one looks a lot smaller than the aerial lift bridge. Its smaller size was most likely chosen due to the width of the river and the sea level of this area. The height and structure of a bridge is what determines which sort of boats can travel down the river. Normal bridges' base heights are set at a higher point. This is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? This is how I wake myself up. Hey Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand. And Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, it would have been shut up in that vast, desolate evidence vault along with all the other cases, marked by nothing but a first-degree murder tag, buried in a soggy grave at the bottom of a sea of data. That would have been its fate. Instead, it traveled from person to person until it finally fell right into our lap. Things always work out that way for us. We've traveled all over the United States trying to track down San Rouge. Can't let this chance pass us by, can we, Zach? We need to find some sort of clue before this southern sun melts it all away. no turning back now. Remember what we saw on our way here? Back when we were driving that hybrid car before we switched over to the skateboard. We passed over the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, the longest bridge over water in the entire world. Remember the sudden downpour that made it impossible?
You again?
Has a symbol. It's got to be that bridge. about Galena, too, and all the other women we've seen so far on our travels across the states. Zach, I'm right, aren't I? This is a vast country, incredibly vast. And it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, and farmland, with small towns scattered about here and there. That's how America looks to me. Compared to the scale of this entire country, New York, Chicago, and LA are all...
How's the investigation coming?
This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here, to protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? Zach, you're a coffee girl. Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. So, you think of this, talking about him. Boondock, is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside? This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? Zach, we're heading toward the Mississippi River, and crossing that river isn't going to help us solve this case. Let's head back into town. Hey, Zach. No, nothing. Just felt like saying that. Zach, you're a coffee person, right? No sugar, only milk. Yes, I'm completely with you on that one. Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the Sang Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, it would have been shut up in that vast, desolate evidence vault along with all the other cases, marked by nothing but a first-degree murder tag, buried in a soggy grave at the bottom of a sea of data. That would have been its fate. Instead, it traveled from person Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the Sang Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during... This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know. I know what you're about. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know. I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this. So, what do you think of him? Yes, we're talking about him. Who, though? Is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of evil? Still too early to tell. But it's clear that he'll be the key to uncovering this case's mysteries. Hey, Zach. Oh, nothing. Just felt like saying that. Hey, Zach. No, nothing. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, If this town has a symbol, it's got to be that bridge hanging over the... If this town has a symbol, it's got to be that bridge hanging over the bayou. Lift bridge. bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me of Duluth, Minnesota. Remember what happened there? That man went to such great lengths to collect his victims' tongues. You know, the one who would French kiss them every day as they slowly decompose. As I drove him to the station after his arrest, he started lecturing me on the proper way to give someone a kiss. Anyway, back to Duluth. They have a famous lift bridge there called the Aerial Lift Bridge. The lift bridge here is the first one we've seen since then, but this one looks a lot smaller than the Aerial Lift Bridge. Its smaller size was most likely chosen due to the width of the river and the sea level of this area. The height and structure of a bridge is what determines which sort of boats can travel down the river. Normal bridges' base heights are set at a higher point so that boats can freely pass underneath them. But I imagine it would be difficult to create a bridge with a large arch here due to the river width and the sea level. That's why we're seeing all these mobile bridges, such as lift bridges and drawbridges around here. As far as Louisiana goes, it appears that they've built mobile... This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know. I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? Zach, this is the deep south. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? So, what do you think of him? Yes, I'm talking about him. Bunda is the skeletal... Looks like a case of... Let's come back. Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the Sang Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand. And Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. Town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach?
What's the buzz, Mr. FBI Special Agent?
talking about him. Boondock, is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of Uther? Still too early to tell, but it's clear that he'll be the key to uncover it. This is a vast country, incredibly vast. And it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, and farmland, with small towns scattered about here and there. That's how America looks to me. Compare. Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. Zach, you're a coffee person, right? Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money, tracing the Sang Rouge distribution. If this town has a symbol, it's got to be that bridge hanging over the bayou. Lift bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me of Duluth, Minnesota. Remember what happened there? That man went to such great lengths to collect his victims' tongues. You know, the one who would French kiss them every day as they slowly decompose. As I drove him to the station after his arrest, he started lecturing me on the proper way to give someone a kiss. Anyway, back to Duluth. They have a famous lift bridge there called the Aerial Lift Bridge. The lift bridge here is the first one we've seen since then, but this one... Hey, Zach. No, nothing. Just felt like saying that. Zach, you're a coffee person, right? No sugar, only milk. Yes, I'm completely with you on that one. me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. Hey, Zach. No, nothing. Just felt like saying that. If this town has a symbol, it's got to be that bridge hanging over the bayou. Lift bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me of Duluth, Minnesota. Remember what happened there? That man went to such great lengths to collect his victims' tongues. You know the one. If this town has a symbol, it's got to be that bridge hanging over the bayou. Lift bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me. Hey Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting in a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, it would have been shut up in that vast, desolate evidence vault along with all the other cases, marked by nothing but a first-degree murder tag, buried in a soggy grave at the bottom of a sea of data. That would have been its fate. Instead, we traveled from person to person until it finally fell right into our lap. Things always work out that way for us. We've traveled all... This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? Hey, want to talk about... Hey, Zach. No, nothing. This is the Deep South. I feel it everywhere.
Receive it.
One lollipop? Two lollipops? Three lollipops? Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with bridges, Zach, and there's no turning back now. Remember what we saw on our way here? Back when we were driving that hybrid car before we switched over to the skateboard. We passed over the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway, the longest bridge over water in the entire world. Remember the sudden downpour that made it impossible for us to see the road? The rain was so torrential that we couldn't see more than a few miles ahead of us. I'm sure local drivers are used to that sort of thing. They were all going normal speeds. I'll let that seem. Zach, it appears to be. Let's come back during. Look, Zach. That seat is beckoning us. Listen to the two ends and drink dry the fire water. Do this and you will see the other world. Hungan's oracle pointed us to this bar, so we must have to do something here. But I feel like the fire water part is missing something. Zach, do you see that? It's a gigantic go sign. I think someone's trying to send us a very powerful message here. That settles it. This must be a singularity. Beautiful lipstick. The color red suits you.
Thank you. Red is the color of life. No human who knows the joy of life would ever hate this color. Or would they?
Maybe. Maybe not. But I know of a drug with a red color that certainly doesn't signify life. It sometimes even steals the lives of those who drown themselves in it. Catch my drift?
Before a candle's flame burns out, it burns brighter than ever before, blazing like a shining red star. Don't you think that instant is more valuable than a century of smoldering?
That blaze doesn't cast out the darkness. It only emphasizes it. But where are my manners? I'm FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Let me get straight to the point. You were present when Lise Clarkson was murdered. And you were also involved with Galena Clarkson's death. Correct?
Agent Morgan, are you a man who can hold his liquor?
I'd love some firewater.
We're similar, you and I.
Really? I don't see the resemblance.
Well, you should. Look deeper. Think about who you were when you were first born, and who you are now. Different selves exist inside your body.
Are you talking about Zach?
I was born as a man, but in my heart, I wasn't so. And this is a small town. I experienced far more scorn and discrimination than anyone could ever imagine. Especially from my father. Parents are supposed to raise their children with love. That's the norm, right? Not for me. I was raised by my father's flesh-seething hatred.
So you ran away from home, started making drugs, then seduced a young life and destroyed it? That story makes no sense to me. Think about it. They didn't burn you in a witch hunt, nor did they ever try to take your life. Yet here you are, letting your selfish fantasies drive you to torch the entire town with vengeful fire. Now tell me, Leonard Clarkson, why did you abandon your inheritance only to end up in a place like this? What do you hope to achieve?
You've already figured out that much. Leonard doesn't exist anymore. He disappeared from me a long time ago. All that's left now is the Red Soul.
The Red Soul?
The Red Soul gives me strength and courage. And I vowed to use that strength to change this world. The Red Soul has the power to amplify the unique characteristics we all possess. Mentally and physically. That's why I created the holy red powder. So that everyone can enjoy its divine benefits.
That's ridiculous.
Our world is home to scarier monsters than violence and prejudice.
Ugh. Zach.
Someday, even your best friend will abandon you.
No. Never.
And in the end, you'll be all alone.
Zach and I will always be together.
Daddy! Daddy! Where are you, Daddy? Don't leave me here! Daddy! Please! I can't find Mommy either! Don't leave me alone! Please? Please, Daddy. Please, Daddy.
Oh. She got us, Zach. She spiked the drink with some sort of sleeping pill. No wonder they call her the Professor. Whew. But that was a rash move. Perhaps she realized that she's finally crossed the point of no return. Or... We need to head to the Clarksons at once before it's too late. We can still stop... Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with bridges, Zach, and there's no turning